Okay, let's just jump right into this. Imagine you're on a takeoff roll, and the entire engine, along with its pylon, just detaches from the wing. It's a terrifying thought, right? Well, that's the exact scenario that triggered a massive grounding order. On November 14, 2025, the FAA dropped Emergency Airworthiness Directive 2025-2353. This is a huge deal for a whole family of Boeing aircraft. We're talking the MD-10, MD-11, and the classic DC-10. So in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what this means.
The FAA is not messing around with this one. The first thing you absolutely have to understand is their bottom line. For every single affected aircraft, further flight is prohibited. Period. This isn't a recommendation, it's an immediate, no exceptions grounding order.
All right, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll get a quick overview of the directive. Then, we'll dig into the scary part, the unsafe condition that started all this. We'll look at exactly which planes are affected, what operators have to do, and the massive impact this has on operations and safety. Then, we'll wrap it all up. Sound good? Let's go.
Now, what's really important to get right off the bat is that this issue didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It's actually a situation that's been evolving very, very quickly. This AD is a superseding order, which basically means it's replacing an older one that was issued just a few days before.
So, check this out. Just 6 days earlier, on November 8th, the FAA put out an AD targeting the MD-11 and its freighter version. But as they dug deeper into the investigation, it became pretty clear that the problem was, well, a lot bigger than they first thought. So boom, on November 14th, this new directive comes out. It completely replaces the old one, and as you're about to see, it pulls a lot more aircraft into the net.
So, the big question is, why? Why take a step as drastic as grounding an entire fleet of aircraft? Well, it all goes back to one single, incredibly serious incident. The event that kicked this all off was, frankly, the stuff of nightmares. We are talking about an actual accident where an entire engine and the pylon, that's the structure that holds it to the wing, completely separated from the plane during takeoff. I mean, can you imagine? That's a worst-case scenario, and the investigation into how that could possibly happen is what led us here.
And you don't have to take my word for how serious this is. Just look at the FAA's own language. They state, and I'm quoting here, that the unsafe condition could result in loss of continued safe flight and landing. They're not sugarcoating it. They are talking about a potentially catastrophic failure.
So let's just walk through the chain of events they're trying to prevent. It all starts with the pylon structure getting compromised in some way. From there, you get the catastrophic detachment of the whole engine. And the next logical, horrifying step is a potential loss of control of the entire aircraft. This AD is designed to slam the brakes on that chain reaction before it even starts.
Okay, this is where that superseding AD really changes the game. After that initial accident, investigators realized that because of design similarities, the risk wasn't just limited to the MD-11, it was much, much wider.
You see, the first AD was focused only on the MD-11 and its freighter variant. But this new directive? It brings in the entire MD-10 and DC-10 series. The engineers figured out the engine pylon design was just too similar across all these models to take any chances. And just like that, a huge portion of the classic trijet fleet is grounded.
And here's the full list so there's no confusion. We've got the MD-11s, the MD-10s, and the whole range of DC-10s. That includes passenger models, freighters, and even the military versions like the KC-10A tankers. Bottom line, if you operate any of these airplanes, this AD applies to you, and it applies right now.
Okay, so if you're an operator with these planes in your fleet, what exactly do you have to do? Let's break down the compliance actions.
The FAA laid out a really clear 4-step process. First, and this is non-negotiable, you ground the aircraft the second you get this AD. Step 2, you have to perform a detailed inspection, and it has to be done using a method the FAA has approved. Step 3, if you find anything, you have to complete the corrections, again using an approved method. And finally, you can't just put the plane back in the sky. You have to get specific approval from the FAA to return that aircraft to service. And here's a really critical point that shows how seriously they're taking this. No special flight permits. Usually, you might be able to get a permit to fly a grounded plane to a maintenance base. Not this time. The AD explicitly forbids it unless you go through a whole separate and specific approval process. They are leaving zero room for error.
You know, the impact of a directive like this is massive. It's not just about turning wrenches.
We have to look at the safety side of the coin and also the huge business challenges this creates for airlines.
The logic here is pretty straightforward. On one side, you've got this absolutely unacceptable risk of an engine literally falling off a plane. On the other side, you've got the fix, this mandated cycle of grounding, inspecting, and correcting. The AD's the safety barrier, plain and simple.
Now, if you're in management, this is a dashboard of headaches. You've got an instant fleet grounding of some of the biggest workhorses in the global cargo fleet. That means major, expensive, unscheduled downtime that's going to send ripples through the entire supply chain. It forces urgent maintenance planning, finding the right people and parts, and it could even have serious impacts on contracts and aircraft lease agreements.
All right, let's bring this all home. What are the absolute most important takeaways for every operator affected by this?
It really just comes down to this: who, what, and when. Who's affected? Any operator of any listed MD-11, MD-10, or DC-10. What do you have to do? Ground your fleet, inspect it, and fix anything you find using FAA-approved methods. And when? Right now. It's effective the moment you receive the AD. It's that simple, and it's that urgent.
And one more really important note here. The FAA is calling this an interim action. That means the investigation is not over. They're still trying to find the ultimate root cause of that pylon failure. So operators need to keep their eyes open because there could definitely be more rules or actions coming down the pipeline once the full investigation is complete.
Look, while we've covered the highlights here, the single source of truth is always the official document. For all the technical details, the legal requirements, the nitty-gritty of compliance, you have to go to the official FAA AD text and any service bulletins that go with it.
For more explainers breaking down the latest in aviation safety and regulation, subscribe to AEROPODA YouTube channel.